We humans always feel the need to socialize. We need a companion to keep us company, share our happiest moments with, and most importantly, we need a true friend we can trust and who has got our backs in return. You see, the same is true with some animals.
Sticks to sharks.
These animals have formed a sort of partnership and understanding that is truer than what is portrayed in animation movies or bedtime stories. Most notable, the story of Simba and his buddies Timon and Pumbaa.
Not a line. Let me get a closer look.
Over the years, animals have built very cordial relationships with animals of other species to survive or just to get a free meal in exchange for their service. Isn't that mutualism? We know, you smarty-pants. We all went through middle school. Want to know of the most amazing interspecies relationship? Stick around for number 1, as we get to take a look at the vampire birds that is internally loyal to their hosts. Welcome to another episode of Forever Green, and this time, we'll be sharing some of the most beneficial animal relationships with you. You probably haven't heard about the number 3. Stick around. 10. Sharks and Remora fish. Remember those little fish that hang around a shark? Those tiny fish that follow the shark around like a kid running after his or her mom at a park? Yeah. Sorry to break it to you, they aren't the baby sharks or their sidekicks. You obviously watch too much cartoons. They are remoras. You see, remoras are small fish that can attach themselves to not just sharks, but other large marine animals. Remoras aren't just groupies for no reason. I mean, why would the shark allow a yummy-looking fish to move around it without making a meal of it? These fish, which measures between 1 to 3 feet, use their specialized front dorsal fins to attach to sharks and do the job of cleaning the shark's skin and ridding it of bacteria. Being a boss, the shark doesn't like to be in a dirty environment or have any disease-causing bacteria lying around. So he gets these janitors, remoras, to do the work for him by eating unwanted scraps left over from his meal. In exchange, the remoras get free food and protection from the shark. And if the shark is in a good mood, he allows the remora to enter his mouth to clean the debris from its mouth. According to research, the sharks value the remoras so much that they will stop to allow the remoras to attach to their body. The shark also provides transportation for the remora, allowing the remora to conserve energy as an additional benefit. 9. Cattle egret and cattle. Next is cattle and their journey companions, the cattle egret. You'd hardly pass by any pasture land with grazing cattle without probably noticing several birds accompanying the herd. The birds are called cattle egret, perhaps because they are found with cattle mostly. Who knows? These stubby white creatures with little blots of buff-colored plumage on their underbellies and crowns are native to tropical and semi-tropical parts of Africa, Asia, and Europe. These white little long-legged birds sit comfortably on the cow's back and pick off parasitic bugs like ticks, fleas, and flies. They also feed on grasshoppers or other insects stirred up by cows' movement in the grass to add to the variety of food they eat. On other days, the cattle egrets eat moths, frogs, worms, toads, lizards, eggs, snakes, small mammals, and on rare occasions, fish. What's in it for the cattle, you might wonder? Thanks to the egrets constantly being on the cow's back. The cow can rest easy knowing that the egret will take care of any parasitic insect on its back and never have to worry about using its tail to ward off flies. The egrets are also jealously guarded by their host, as the cows are seen to move in the direction of anyone who tries to attack or catch them. That's so sweet of them, right? 8. Pistol shrimp and Gobi fish. Have you ever had to make your little sister or brother keep watch of your parents while you snuck your girlfriend or boyfriend into your room? This is a classic example of that. Only the pistol shrimp doesn't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. How is this anything like sneaking someone into my room? Let me explain. Naturally, pistol shrimps or snapping shrimps of the family Aphidae are burrowers. notorious for their large claws and digging abilities. They are always creating and maintaining burrows in shallow marine habitats, such as seagrasses, coral reefs, and mangroves. However, the shrimp has very poor eyesight, nearly blind, and it cannot spot its predators until it's too late. So, during the process of clearing out or creating a new burrow, the shrimp is very vulnerable to predators whenever it dumps the debris outside the burrow, since it is as blind as a bat. This is where the Gobi fish comes in. The Gobi fish of the Gobidae family is a tiny and vigilant fish with super sights. They form a great relationship with the shrimp by acting as the shrimp's watchmen against predators. In exchange for a place to stay and perform its mating rituals, what the Gobi fish usually does is, it sits at the entrance of the burrow, keeping constant watch against potential predators, while the shrimp clears the gravel from the burrow. With the Gobi on the lookout, the nearly blind shrimp places one tentacle on the fish while exposed. So if the Gobi runs for it and darts inside the hole, the shrimp is immediately alerted to the presence of a predator. It too runs for its life into the safety of the burrow. The shrimp also provides food for itself and its life-saving mate, the Gobi, in appreciation for its diligent work. If you're wondering how the shrimp finds a Gobi fish willing to take part in this venture in the first place, you're just as confused as we are. 7. Ants and fungi. Ants are known for their diligence, teamwork, perseverance, and detailed planning. But I bet you probably didn't know is that ants are seasoned farmers. Yes, you heard that right. Long before humans started farming, in fact, before our ancestors even existed, it's been proven that ants have been farming. Subtropical ants, like leafcutter ants, collect leaves, which they use to cultivate fungi in their underground nests. You see, ants can't digest the leaves directly, and so they feed only on the fungi they farm. They may have been eating fungi for nearly 50 million years, and they have co-evolved with their fungal partners during that period. The ants and the fungi form a really twisted kind of mutualism. But somehow, both partners benefit from the relationship. The ants grow the fungi and provide them with leaves, which they feed on and consequently break down into more edible protein and sugars, which the ants can feed on. The ants carefully select the leaves of the fungi's choice and even secret antibiotics to prevent bacteria from growing on the rotting leaves. This eliminates any competition the bacteria will pose to the fungi. The ants also move the fungus around when they move to a new nest. Talk about having a mobile farm. The queen ant takes a small quantity of fungus in her mouth. After mating, digs a hole and spits out the fungus to begin a new nest. 6. Sea anemones and hermit crabs. This is a tale of two unusual childhood friends who become lifelong buddies. When hermit crabs are young, they go around searching for sea anemones, probably of the same age, to pick up and attach to their shell, and they become partners for life. The creepy thing about this pair is that they even seem to grow at the same rate. Although sea anemones are known to be poisonous to most sea creatures, the survival of hermit crabs in the treacherous and unforgiving seas depends on finding and attaching an anemone on their shells. The hermit crab is protected from predators by its relationship with the sea anemone. Scientists haven't figured out how the hermit crab is able to communicate potential danger to the sea anemone. But somehow, the anemone responds to the alert just the same way the crab does. The sea anemone also extends its stinging tentacles out as additional protection. With an anemone on board, the crab is less likely to be eaten by a larger predator. In the event of the hermit crab outgrowing its shell, they somehow convince the sea anemone to go with them into a new one. This happens when the sea anemones have covered the entirety of the crab's shell surface. So, what does the sea anemone get in return for being the personal bodyguard of the crab? Since the sea anemone eats just about anything in the sea, it receives whatever is left over from the crab's food. The hermit crab is responsible for providing dinner, while the sea anemone cleans up the leftovers. It is a steady supply of food for the sea anemone. Sea anemones move very little if they even move at all. Another advantage of hitching a ride on the hermit crab's back is getting exposed to a much larger area to search for food. While the hermit crab is taking a stroll around the seafloor, the anemone can use the time traveling on his mobile home to trap and collect small fish and plankton. Before we move on, here's a quick challenge for you. If you can leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and turn on the notifications in less than 5 seconds, you will have 10 years of amazing luck. Hurry up and try it. It actually works. 5. Spider crab and algae.
They're trying to blend in.
The common spider crabs, or decorator crabs as they are often called, due to the fact that they choose to decorate their shells in an attempt to disguise themselves from predators, are slow-moving, long-legged crustaceans that live in shallow bays on the sandy bottom of the sea. The spider crabs have learned to be great makeup artists to camouflage themselves away from the lurking eyes of predators. The spider crab snips off bits of algae and covers their spiny shells to form what can be regarded as a living camouflage. The amazing thing about this behavior is that the crabs literally choose to decorate their shells rather than the algae growing on them haphazardly or by accident. The camouflage works so well that a predator, such as a shark, for example, could be staring at the spider crab and not know it's there. That's how well the crab can blend into its surroundings thanks to the help of the algae. As expected, the algae are also a beneficiary in this partnership. It gets a fair bit of what the crab eats and gets a free ride, which gives it access to more floating debris for food and more room to spread its genetic material around the ocean. 4. Ants and aphids. Many farmers dread the sight of aphids on their crops. Who would blame them? These extremely small, sap-sucking insects collect the sugar-rich fluids from host plants and destroy the host plant in the process. Aphids are also referred to as plant lice. The aphids must consume ample quantities of a plant in order to get adequate nutrition. After that, they excrete equally large amounts of waste, known as honeydew, which in turn becomes a sugar-rich meal for ants. As you all know, where there is sugar, there are bound to be ants, and this is where the relationship comes into play. Because the ants love and depend on the waste from aphids, they care for and protect them from predators and parasites. Sometimes, the ants get so hungry for the aphids' honeydew that they are forced to milk the aphids to make them the sugary substance. They do this by stroking the aphids with their antennae, stimulating them to release their waste, or should I say the honeydew. Some species of aphids have become so used to this that they have lost the ability to pass waste on their own and depend on caretaker ants to milk them. However, it's the duty of these aphid-herding ants to ensure the aphids stay well-fed and are in safety. When the host plant is void of nutrients, the ants transport their precious aphids to a new food source. And if any predatory insect or parasite attempts to harm the aphids, the ant will defend them to the last. Some even go as far as destroying the eggs of the predators. We're sure you've enjoyed watching the video thus far. If yes, tell us what you've loved the most about today's video. 3. Clownfish and Sea Anomalies. If you were a little, defenseless, bright-colored, tasty-looking fish, you'd need to find a way to survive the perils of the coral reef and how to not end up a predator's dinner or lunch. The clownfish has found a way to do just that and thrive under these highly unfavorable conditions by finding a haven in the unlikeliest of places. Inside the poisonous sea anemones, they live within the protective tentacles of the sea anemone thanks to the mucus layer around its body, which is 4 times thicker than other fish. Over the years, the clownfish and sea anemones have built a mutualistic relationship in which each party provides premium services for the other. Sea anemones attach themselves to rocks in their habitats and catch prey by paralyzing them with their poisonous tentacles. Living in the sea anemone definitely comes with a price. In return for the anemone's hospitality, the clownfish clean the anemone's tentacles, keeping them free from parasites. They also ward off predatory fish, such as butterfly fish, who may want to feed on the nutrient-rich tentacles of their host, as well as acting as baits by luring fish and other prey within the striking range of the sea anemones. Another added incentive is that the clownfish gets to feed on the leftovers of the sea anemones, thereby eliminating the need for it to search for its own food. 2. Cleaner shrimps and moray eels. Oh my god, such big teeth you have, and what a brave little shrimp. That's the image of the kind of relationship that exists between the cleaner shrimps and moray eels. Giant moray eels feast on crustaceans and octopuses, and usually hunt at night. They averagely grow up to 3 meters, and their inability to remove dead skin and parasites from their surface puts them at risk of diseases. Therefore, they require the help of the sea dentists and spa attendants, cleaner shrimps. After a hard day's work, moray eels make a pit stop to a cleaning station, where they will find cleaner shrimps ready to take up the task. The morays are welcomed with a dance by the shrimps. Once the moray eel is convinced, it offers itself up for some squeaky cleanup service. The cleaner shrimps are usually very keen on cleaning not just the eel's skins, but also cleaning around its eyes, gills, teeth, and wait for it, even bravingly entering the eel's mouth to ensure a thorough teeth cleaning session and a decent meal. Healthy skin and mouth make the moray eel happy, and the shrimp get a handsome meal. Everybody wins. It's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber who would like to know why an antelope and a hippo have cute little birds on the face and skin. If you come across a mysterious photo online and want us to look into it, just send it over, and we may even feature it in a future video. We did some research and found that these cute little birds aren't as innocent as they look. But what makes them so crucial to the well-being of these African animals? Let's find out as we unveil our number 1 pick for today's video. Oxpeckers and Antelopes. There are 2 species of the oxpecker birds, the red-beaked oxpecker and yellow-beaked oxpecker, found in sub-Saharan Africa. They perform a somewhat mutualistic relationship with antelope and other large-hoofed mammals of the area like giraffes, zebras, rhinoceroses, and hippopotamuses. The oxpeckers spend the majority of their lives feeding almost anything they find on their hosts' backs, from ticks to lice and any other insect feasting on the host. They are so dedicated to the service of their hosts that they leave no crevice untouched. They go as far as working their way into their host's ears to remove insects, parasites, and earwax. The host peckers also eat diseased wound tissues to keep wounds clean as they heal and make hissing sounds to tip off their hosts when they sense the presence of predators. But there's an imperfection to this seemingly perfect relationship. It is argued that because the oxpecker prefers to feed on blood-filled ticks and doesn't necessarily reduce the tick population, it has failed to help its host. They are also guilty of digging into the open wound caused by ticks on their hosts, therefore earning them the moniker blood-sucking birds. Regardless of this fact, the oxpecker hasn't been labeled as a parasite to their host. And that's it for the animals that benefit other animals. Which of these relationships dropped your jaw the most? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.